On the morning of July 17th, at 8:33 a.m., a large landslide occurred in Yichang City, Hubei Province, near the Three Gorges Reservoir area. The landslide happened on a mountainside next to the Yangtze River, causing part of the mountain to collapse along a winding road. The scene was shocking. According to reports, no one was living in the landslide area, and there were no vehicles on the village road at the time. 4 people working in the fields were able to evacuate safely, so there were no casualties. The landslide, which was a new occurrence, destroyed the village road and a citrus orchard. The landslide area is now stable. Locals believe that the landslide was caused by the rising water levels in the Three Gorges Reservoir and continuous rainfall, which increased the water content in the slopes and softened the soil. Since the construction of the Three Gorges Dam, landslides and other geological disasters have frequently occurred in a 600-kilometer-long reservoir area. Experts explain that the water level in the Three Gorges Reservoir fluctuates between 145 and 175 meters, creating a 30-meter fluctuation zone along the shore. The constant cycle of submersion and exposure has caused rock fissures and severe weathering, leading to frequent landslides and collapses. Due to the continuous heavy rain in the upper reaches of the Yangtze River, including Sichuan and Chongqing, the Yangtze River basin is now in a critical flood prevention period. The Three Gorges Dam is expected to face multiple flood peaks, increasing the pressure on the dam. To prepare for potential larger floods upstream, the reservoir has made space by releasing water. On July 16th, the dam opened 11 spillway gates, the second time this has happened since the dam's construction in 2003, with an outflow reaching 52,000 cubic meters per second, worsening the downstream flooding situation. Severe flooding has affected the middle and lower reaches of the Yangtze River, including Anhui, Hunan, and Hubei provinces. The Hunan Hydrology Center predicts that the increased outflow from the Three Gorges Reservoir will cause the water level in Dongting Lake to rise again, potentially exceeding warning levels, making the flood control situation more critical. In Pingjiang County, Yichang City, Hunan Province, the Jiufeng Reservoir had to release water due to a piping danger, causing severe damage to nearby villages. Many houses were destroyed, leaving the area in ruins. A woman cried in front of her destroyed house, saying, "I just want a home. It was 4 large beautiful rooms, costing over 1 million yuan, and now it's all gone." In recent days, heavy rains have fallen in northern Sichuan, southern Shanxi, and western Henan, causing the water level in the upper Han River to rise significantly. On July 17th, the water level in the Danjiakou Reservoir exceeded 160 meters. The reservoir increased its discharge, almost fully opening the spillway. By 9 p.m. that night, the inflow was 6,710 cubic meters per second, and the outflow was 1,810 cubic meters per second. Meanwhile, the disaster situation in Shanxi and Henan remained very severe. On the night of July 16th, heavy rain hit Baoji City, Shanxi Province, causing flash floods and mudslides. The Shibao River in Baoji broke its banks, flooding the city. Videos online show muddy floodwaters rushing through the streets, sweeping away parked cars, creating a chaotic and frightening scene. The water flowed rapidly, submerging several cars, some of which were overturned with only their wheels visible above water. People were shouting, "The flood is coming! Run! Run!"
Look, another car is being swept away. There's so many cars.
In some videos, residents showed the flooding live, but their live streaming was blocked by the platform. An underground parking garage in a residential area was heavily flooded, turning it into a vast pool. Cars in the garage were submerged, and facilities were severely damaged. Some people were trapped in the middle of the road by the fierce floodwaters while trying to escape. At 2 a.m. on July 17th, residents of Baoji were woken up by loudspeakers, urging them to evacuate as the Qinjiang River was rising. By then, multiple rivers had overflowed, flooding the city's streets, turning many areas of Baoji into rivers. The terrifying flash floods and mudslides rushed along the Shibao River, destroying the Yimen Bridge in Baoji and causing multiple road collapses, blocking vehicle passage with debris. According to Huasheng Daily, at around 1 a.m. on July 17th, an old railway bridge between Fengzhou and Qiliping on the Baocheng line in Baoji was damaged by floodwaters. A locomotive performing flood patrol tasks fell off the bridge, injuring 2 crew members. Videos show that after the floodwaters receded, the streets were covered in mud and sand, with many cars half buried. Authorities have deployed large excavators to clear the debris. Due to the heavy rain, National Highway 244, Provincial Highway 219, and the G85 expressway in Baoji experienced multiple landslides and mudslides, cutting off the hazardous materials route to the southwest. This has caused severe traffic jams on the highways. Simultaneously, numerous trains were delayed, and 70 passenger trains passing through Baoji on the 17th were suspended. Local authorities have evacuated 1,289 people, with no reported casualties so far. Between 5 a.m. on July 16th and 5 a.m. on July 17th, heavy rain fell in Hanzhong, causing landslides and road closures in some areas. Hanzhong's Hantai District, Chenggu County, Foping County, and Luoyang County were heavily affected, impacting 32 towns and over 8,000 people, with 3,878 people urgently relocated. The highest total rainfall and the highest hourly rainfall during this period were recorded in Qingmuchuan, Yichang County, with 200 millimeters and 70.8 millimeters respectively. As of 5 a.m. on July 17th, a total of over 13,000 people from nearly 6,000 households in Hanzhong had been evacuated. This heavy rain also caused landslides on National Highway 345 in Guozhen Town, Luoyang County, covering about 400 cubic meters, and on the Baichuesi section of the Luogao Road, covering about 200 cubic meters, both resulting in road closures. Additionally, parts of National Highway 244 in Liubao were flooded. Starting on July 16th, many areas in Hubei Province experienced heavy rainfall, leading to disasters in 32 counties of Yichang City. Floodwaters surged into Qingmuchao Ancient Town, and according to the Shanxi Provincial Water Resources Department, 38 rivers in Shanxi, including the Hanjiang, Weihe, Jialing, Danjiang, and Nanluo rivers, experienced 64 peaks at 47 hydrological stations. 11 rivers had floods exceeding warning levels, with the Qingjiang River in Yimen Town recording the largest flood since 1955. At 11:45 a.m. on July 17th, the Shanxi Meteorological Observatory issued a yellow warning for heavy rain. Additionally, the Shanxi Provincial Water Resources Department and the Shanxi Meteorological Bureau jointly issued a flood disaster warning, predicting a high probability of mountain floods in 56 cities and counties between July 17th and July 18th. The heavy rains have affected more than just Shanxi. According to the China Central Meteorological Observatory, from July 17th to 18th, heavy to torrential rain is expected in parts of Henan, southern Shandong, northern Jiangsu, and the western Sichuan Basin. Some areas, eastern Henan, northern Anhui, and southern Jiangsu, could experience extreme heavy rain. By 8 a.m. on July 17th, the Ministry of Water Resources reported that 81 rivers in 9 provinces, including Hubei, Hunan, Jiangxi, Shanxi, Gansu, Anhui, Henan, Jiangsu, and Zhejiang, had flood levels exceeding warning thresholds. 3 rivers, Jialinjiang in Gansu, Honghe in Henan, and Xihe in Anhui, were above guarantee levels. From the morning of July 18th to the morning of July 19th, several areas, including the lower Hanjiang River, Poyang Lake in Jiangxi, and the Huai River, will maintain high flood levels. On July 17th, heavy rain caused flash floods and mudslides in Kangxian County, Longnan City, Gansu Province. These floods disrupted roads and caused traffic interruptions due to landslides and mudflows. In Hunan Province, persistent heavy rain led to severe flooding in cities like Anyang and Hebei. Nanyang City recorded the highest 24-hour rainfall in the province, close to 700 millimeters, which is almost the amount of rain they typically receive all year. As of 4 p.m. on July 17th, 33 major reservoirs in Henan had exceeded flood control levels, and the local authorities were conducting coordinated orderly flood discharge. Videos online show severe flooding in Nanyang, with homes, cars, and farmland submerged or destroyed. Local residents reported that past floods in Henan were often linked to reservoir releases, causing significant losses. The Chinese authorities have been criticized for not issuing timely warnings and for restricting information about disasters. The woman reported that at 2 a.m., she woke up to find her bed floating in water, nearly being swept away. Many homes in her village experienced similar flooding, with water reaching several meters deep and destroying food, livestock, and household appliances. In Tanghe County, Nanyang City, where there were previously severe drought, the Tanghe River suddenly surged after 10 hours of upstream flood releases, starting at 7 p.m. on July 16th. Residents along the river were alarmed throughout the night, and some were forced to evacuate. A local woman mentioned that the floodwaters from upstream were released, causing the Tanghe River to overflow and inundate lower-lying areas. The recent drought had already damaged crops, and the heavy rain further worsened the situation, making life difficult for the locals. Mr. Yang, a resident of Nanyang City, Hunan Province, said,
"Many cars are submerged, farmland is flooded, and people are trapped. The underpasses and bridges are quite deep, potentially deep enough to drown an adult. Additionally, some people have fallen into the storm drains and disappeared. It's terrifying. We have newly built roads here, but the drainage system is inadequate. When it rains, it clogs up, and the municipal infrastructure is not well managed."
Mr. Yang mentioned that there is a reservoir called the Yangtze Reservoir in Nanyang. During droughts, it is closed off to raise water levels and leased out for fish farming and other income-generating activities. When it rains, they secretly release water without warning. If they issue a warning, it becomes a government action, and they might have to compensate. They blame natural disasters for man-made problems. They don't care about the people. Many houses in Nanyang, Xuchang, and Zhoukou have been flooded.
We're standing in Gaoyang, Zhoukou. We are currently pumping water. The water in the village is very deep, almost reaching the windows. Look at how severe the flooding is in the yard.
The CCP authorities are ineffective in disaster relief, but never forget to stage photo ops. Someone remarked, "This is truly an insult to people's intelligence. With such shallow water, the boat is full of people, and they expect the dinghy to have buoyancy? One person could pull it." Another netizen commented, "Everything is perfect, except for the regrettable fact that the water is too shallow. Even the shallowest draft dinghy is helplessly stranded. Developing technology is crucial and urgent. We urgently need to develop a new generation of high-tech watercraft with an even shallower draft than a dinghy." Another netizen said, "They can't fabricate a flood and still need to publicize their disaster relief efforts. This is the compromise." In June, some residents prayed for rain, and in July, they prayed for it to stop. A video showed an elderly man kneeling and bowing to pray for the rain to stop, while a farmer woman asked the heavens to stop the rain because their crops were dying. Influenced by anti-Japanese propaganda, the woman also wished the rain would fall in Japan instead. Scoop the clouds back to the mountains. If you clear up, can you move the heavy rain to Japan so it rains there and is sunny in China? The Sichuan Basin, part of Henan and Anhui, will continue to experience heavy rains in the coming days. The Ministry of Water Resources admitted that from July 16th to August 15th, 7 major river basins in China might experience flooding. Flooding in the Yangtze River Basin is ongoing. Besides the Three Gorges Dam, the Xin'anjiang Reservoir is also releasing water. The accumulated sandbanks along the Qingtan riverbed have collapsed due to the surge of water. The widespread severe flooding in China this year is partly due to high rainfall, but human factors play a significant role. Since the establishment of the People's Republic of China, the government has managed rivers and reservoirs in a way described as playing with water. The government has promoted the idea of conquering nature, resulting in the construction of numerous water projects, making China the country with the most reservoirs and water transfer projects in the world. According to the International Commission on Large Dams, a dam is considered large if it exceeds 15 meters in height or has a reservoir capacity of over 3 million cubic meters. China has over 22,000 large dams, accounting for 44% of the global total. Of the world's 851 dams over 100 meters tall, 130 are in China, making up 15% of the total. As of 2022, China has 95,296 reservoirs with a total capacity of 9,887 billion cubic meters. This includes 814 large reservoirs with a total capacity of 7,900 billion cubic meters and 4,192 medium reservoirs with a capacity of 1,199 billion cubic meters. However, many of China's reservoirs and dams are poorly constructed. Even the Ministry of Water Resources has acknowledged that there are over 72,000 problematic and dangerous reservoirs in the country. The Chinese government claims that building reservoirs can regulate droughts and floods, but in reality, they often block water during droughts and release it during floods. The so-called orderly flood discharge frequently occurs without warning. For instance, during the floods in North China from late July to early August 2023, residents in Zhuozhou, Baoji, Hubei Province, reported that the government did not notify them before releasing water from the Beijing reservoirs, leading to millions of people being trapped. According to water expert Wang Weiluo, the flood control level is a low water level in reservoirs meant to store floodwaters. However, local governments often release water as soon as the flood control level is exceeded. This effectively sets the flood control capacity to zero. One reason for this is the Reservoir Director's Responsibility System, where local officials are held accountable for reservoir safety. Knowing the poor quality of most dams, they prefer to release water to avoid dam failures, leaving downstream residents to face the consequences. After the floods, officials might visit and offer some token assistance, expecting gratitude in return.